And istud'ifu in the Arabic language, it's beautiful how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says it, istud'ifu. Istud'ifu to those among them who believed. Do you know Salih to be an emissary from the Lord? The word istid'af in the Arabic language is the perception of weakness. That's what it means. It doesn't mean those who are weak. It means those who are perceived to be weak. And that's why Allah, the chiefs amongst his people, okay, Salih, this is Qawm Thamud, who were conceited, said to those who they perceived to be powerless, perceived to be weak in society, but they're not weak. And history is going to dictate, well, it's al-aqiba lil-muttaqeen. The end of it is for those, is for whom? Those who were conscious of Allah Jalla fil-Ula. So it's a perception of weakness. Look at them when they go to Badr and they see what the army of the Prophet ﷺ, they see a ragtag army, Quraysh with all of their fine armor and their fine steel and their fine cavalry and their fine horses and their fine camels and their great food and the party they brought along. And then they see the army of the Prophet ﷺ, which they consider ragtag, 330 individuals. You only have one horse, saying the Miqdad ibn Aswad, one horse they have. And they look at the swords, and who made those swords? What are they going to do? And Abu Jahl, Amr ibn Hisham, who's the general of the army on that day, he says, fight. He says, let's get some rope, tie them up and just drag them back to Mecca. Ragtag army, there's no war today. Perception of weakness. And then they routed. Where was weakness on that day? Yawm iltaqa al-jam'an. Look what Allah calls it, the day when the two great armies met. Well, where was the greatness of the 313? It wasn't external greatness. It was internal greatness. The reality of where their connection was with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's why when one of the reconnaissance of the Quraysh, he sent to go and look the army that's coming, and he goes and he rides around the army. He's looking at the army of the Prophet, riding around, doesn't engage them, and then he goes back, and then they say, what do you say? He says, few in numbers, roughly 300. Get to the point, roughly 300 people, just by gazing at them. He could count them like that, roughly 300 people. He says, what do you say? I advise we turn back, we don't fight. He says, why? He says, any people who come out looking like that for war, there's something beyond what you see. He says, go back, don't fight these people. See, he recognized the reconnaissance there, and Abu Jahl gets mad. What do you mean, go back? And that's when he goes, and when he sees them, he says, ragtag, tie them up with rope, we'll drag them back to Mecca. Okay, and they were routed. The reality of where strength lies. And that again should inform our identity, because we are what one of our weaknesses. Power for us is the same place where the disbelievers, the kuffar, place power. In the outward, that's where we perceive power. We perceive power in wealth. We perceive family in whatever blood lineage that we may have, that Allah Ta'ala has supposedly preferred us with or not preferred us with. We see it in the positions that we hold, the houses that we have, the cars that we drive, in the clubs that we belong to, or the political party that we may support. We place the same value that the disbelievers place upon life. We're in al-aish al-akhirah. That what? The life is the life of the hereafter, the other world. That's where the value is placed. And you would not find one Imam of the Sahaba, and we would say any of the Sahaba, who disagreed with that point. They understood al-izzah, that what might, lillah, is for God, wali rasulihi, and his messenger, walil mu'mineen, and for the believers. And that izzah doesn't come by placing value upon this world, because this world means nothing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, nothing. But it comes through placing value upon the world that is eternal and never ceases. Okay? Harm's way. Do you think that you will be left alone as long as they say we believe without their being tried? We did indeed try those before them, and God knows who were the truthful, and does indeed know those who were false likewise. So quit complaining. You see, don't complain. Let's not build movements that are called movements against Islamophobia. Quit complaining and just fortify your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because it's all part of the test of faith. You see, the believers are crafted in the fairness of the dunya, in the difficulty that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reaps upon what those believers, liyumahis, so that he may know those from amongst us who are pure and truthful to his cause, and those who just liars and just what blaggers, as they will say, for the cause of Allah